Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to today's session. So last video, we touched base on PTA, that's privacy threshold analysis, and PIA, um, privacy impact assessment. I said once you've categorized an information systems using NIST 860 Volume 2 that has all the information types, and FIPS 199 that talks about the impact levels, which could be low, moderate, or high. The next step is to be able to identify if that system collects a lot of PII or not, because you also want to see if you have to implement privacy controls, and you have some strong regulatory bodies like HIPAA, GDPR, CCPA, that's a California Consumer Privacy Act. They lay emphasis on privacy controls, right? And the privacy aspect has to do with our data, your information, my information, just for organizations or whatever information system that collects, processes, or stores this information system. You have to tell them, do they have the right to collect your information, and how would they store your information? What happened to a situation where they don't need that information? How do they get rid of their information or delete their information? What if they experience a data breach? How do they reach out to you as a user? I believe by now some of you must have received like some emails from your bank or maybe from like some companies tell you that there might be a possibility of a data breach, and they are offering like a free monitoring. They might monitor your credit, just to make sure you're not an a victim of identity theft. So if you've ever received an email like that, then you know that it has to do with privacy concern. Okay. And one thing about this too, if you go to our website to also understand what kind of information we collect, if you go to our UST website, it will tell you the kind of information we collect. And any other website that you visit, always make it a habit to go to the privacy section. It should tell you what that particular company or website collects. Okay. So let's quickly go over this concept. This is something that we covered already. I don't think we're really going to spend much time here. For example, we'll talk about PTA. First, it says the PTA what is PTA? PTA stands for Privacy Threshold Analysis. And what's the purpose? First, it determines whether a system or project involves the collection, processing, or sharing of personally identifiable information, PII. And PII could be your home address, your first name, your last name, your date of birth, email addresses, your kids' information, whatever information is it, right? So that's to tell us. And when is it done? At the initial stage of a project, or when there are changes to an existing project or system. So each and every system, a new system is a must. All new system must have a PTA. Okay, because the PTA will tell you if that system collect a lot of PII or personally identifiable information, as we have covered, and the outcome to decide if more detailed privacy impact assessment is needed. So what are the steps in PAA, in PTA? First, you want to first of all identify if PII is being collected, processed, or stored. You also want to evaluate whether this data is required and how it will be handled. You get? And that's why I told you, oh, like when you are collecting somebody information, when you're collecting people or users information, you want to first of all identify why do you need that, right? And the third aspect says to determine if privacy risks exist and whether further analysis is required. And as we will see when we start selecting security controls, the very first thing like the first phase of managing security risks has to do with the categorization of information system. Likewise, performing a PTA to be able to determine if that system collects a lot of PII. And believe me or not, that is the first phase of managing risks, right? Because once you've identified the categorization level, once you've determined if this system collects a lot of PII, you want to be able to check the impact level. What happened if that system happened? What's the impact level? That's why we want to also determine privacy risks, right? Just as we categorize a system to be able to determine, the security impact. So we also want to determine the privacy risks if that information system get hacked or compromised. And why is PTA important? First, early identification helps catch privacy concern early in the project lifecycle, ensure adherence to privacy law and standards, and also efficient resource allocation. Save time by determining if full PTA is necessary. So this really helps because at the initial phase, you have to determine if the system collects a lot of PII. And we know what it means if you are not in adherence with some of these regulatory authorities. Remember, if something happens and you get hurt, just imagine the fines that you're going to pay. And that's why it's mandatory or important for organization to identify. And if they feel like this system is collecting a lot of PII, then they want to make sure they have the privacy controls in place also. All right. So with this, before we go to PTA, let's go to let's go to let's go to Google and get, I need to share my screen and get a sample template. For example, if you go to the Department of Homeland, you just type PTA, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, you should be able to see theirs, right? This is a document that we touched, like we analyzed it yesterday. So this is something that you will see a lot of agency or company, they have their own customized template. Like my last role, I work with CMS, Center of Medical and Medical Services. They have theirs, right? And even where I work now, they also have their own template. And this is a template for DHS. And if you look very well, it's talk of privacy threshold analysis, summary. First, what is a project or program name? You're gonna put it. This is just an information. Again, that's that preliminary or initial phase that you just need to answer or fill this question. Okay, you put the task field man name, type of project or program, office of program, whatever. Project or program manager, of course, you need to put a program manager title and all those things. And that's why I see one of our roles as GRC analyst is to be able to review and update security policies. So if you have a document like this, you also, if somebody leaves, say for example, if I'm the program manager on ISO, if I leave, you need to make sure that you have the most accurate information. So this are document that is like one of the role or things or project you guys are going to be working on is to be able to review and update policies like this. Okay. You have the program information system security officer. You have date it was submitted to the privacy office, date submitted to DHS, and the date it was approved by the DHS privacy office. Do you see? So first you have the private date submitted to the office, date submitted to a component privacy office, date submitted to DHS privacy office, date approved by that. So I said this is again for their agency, they have this customized template. So for each and every system, it also has to be approved, right? And that's why you start seeing roles like privacy officer. You have some of like companies, non-governmental companies, organizations, you have role like privacy officer. This is their role to be able to determine if, first and foremost, to be able to have a data classification policy where you have to classify your data, give an impact level of your data, tell us what data is high, low, or moderate, sensitive or critical. Okay. So once you have that, then you can better, classify or determine what kind of PII your system collects or house. And if you see the top, please describe the purpose of the project or program. Provide a general description of the project and its purpose in a way a non-technical person could understand. Right. So you have to put it there like once you go there, this thing is just question and answer. Once you go there, you just read it, right? And if you see date it was first developed, date it was updated, pilot launch, you'll know what that means, pilot end date, from whom does a project or program collect, maintain, use, or disseminate information. So like you have to put it there. If it's something about our school UST, is it limited to the UST students? Or is it limited to maybe staff, or maybe we have other vendors. So if whatever entity that you all are collecting the data, you should be able to make sure you document it, okay? And then what specific information about individuals could be collected, generated, and retained? You see, this one collected, that's a security control generated or retained. You have to be specific. And that's why the question asks you, what specific information. You got to be specific. You have to be able to tell us what kind of information you will be collecting. And if you see here, does this program use social security number? If yes, you put it there. If yes, provide the legal authority of collecting SSM, your social security number. And believe me or not, there's like most information system organization, they don't just collect their social security number like that. Before they collect it, know that they have a legal laws or authority that allow them to be able to collect it. And that's why you need to be able to document that. And come to think of it, when you go to the hospital, they collect your demographic data, collect a lot of sensitive information, even your social security number and all those things, right? Me and you today, we can have the same doctor, but we can have our information on two separate systems. Okay, I can have my information on system A, you can have your information on system A. That's an information system. So each and every information system needs to have a PTA. Okay, and each, if it's collecting a lot of sensitive information, then you also have to fill it and determine what legal authorities allows you to be able to collect people's social security number. Okay, if yes, please describe the use of social security number within the project. So this is not just something that you see information people are just collecting like that. No, this is something that I do on a regular basis. I assess system, assess security controls. And if you guys happen to get jobs tomorrow, these are things that you're going to be doing. Yeah, you see some of their template, you will read it and you should be able to access it and determine if that control pass or if that control fail. And privacy control, they are more administrative, like it's more of reading an answer. You don't even need to perform any form of testing. It's just for you to read, like just rate the answer and the response, be able to determine if the control pass or the control fail, right? Does this system employ any of the following technologies? You can put it if it does. And this is something, again, as I said, this is per DHS. A lot of companies have their customized, so something that fit your organization need, okay? If this project is technology system, does it relate solely to infrastructure? If yes, you put it. So once they answer all of these questions, do you see, does this program connect, receive, or share PII with any other DHS program or system? You have to fill all of those. So once they fill all of this information, is this external sharing pursuant to new or existing information sharing access agreement, MOA, MOU, and so on? You got to put that. And then date submitted to, we already covered that. So once they fill all of this information, and then this is where you see the end goal is to be able to determine if this document is PIA, right? This is a PTA document. If it's PIA negative or it's PIA positive. PIA negative means that it doesn't collect a lot of sensitive information. At that point, we'll end here. You don't need a PTA document. But if the system collect a lot of PII, like if you collect social security number by default, that's a high system already, okay? So yes, you will need a PIA. So that's PIA positive. So all system information system will have a PTA, but not all information system will need a PIA. Okay, you have PIA only for high sensitive system that collect PII, personally identifiable information. And then one other thing before we go to PIA is the SON, that system of record notice. This is something that you also see on the PIA session. You will assume this system have a system of record notice. And what the thing is just a number system description that is being put out there in the federal registrar. For example, if you go here, we type federal registrar. You see a lot of systems. Okay, so if you are accessing a control also, you should be able to determine, you will copy that number account search here to see if this system also have a SON number, and at a minimal level it will tell you what system is it, what kind of information they are collecting and whatsoever. Something that you all can just visit, click on one, and then be able to just read and see what you have there, right? But what happens to a non-governmental company? How are they able to also put information out there? Many times you might see on their website, like our website, you go to our website, you go to the privacy section, we've already told like the public what kind of information or PII we collect. Okay. And I even recall when I was also working with one of our student batch to be able to onboard at FIM, the company that we partnered with, for them to be able to get credit or loan, for them to, if they cannot afford, the fee, if they cannot afford it out of pocket, they can take a loan to do their training with us. That's something that it took us more than a month to be able to onboard that vendor, because I needed to understand what kind of PII is being exposed from our website. Because with the help of API, each time students go there and they want to pay with the use of AFIM, it redirects them to the AFIM website. So just that process of taking them to the AFIM website, I needed to understand what kind of information is it exposed from our own end, right? Because what I was doing is to be able to transfer all the security risks. Okay, because we cannot take payment. We are not in compliance with PCI so because we don't do nothing has to do with like payment on our website. And that's why some students you have to pay via paper or you go to AFI. We are transferring all the risks, right? So those are some of the things that when you guys are doing one of these, like do things, when you guys are doing some of these things, you want to be able to understand why, organization, why they have certain maybe process in place. For example, if you go to Walmart, you want to shop from there, you can direct it to PayPal for you to make your payment. So those are some of the things that you all can do a little bit of research, right? So you can also go here and just click on one and be able to see what it entails. Apart from that, so this is what SUN is. And then let's go back and discuss PIA. So you've determined, and once we fill it, realize that that system is PIA positive, which means that it collects a lot of PII. But what is PIA? Okay, privacy impact assessment is a tool used to assess the impact that project, system, or program we have on an individual's privacy. It requires by privacy regulations such as the E-Government Act of 2002 and other data protection laws like GDPR, HIPAA, as well as CCPA. Okay, the PIA helps identify and minimize privacy risks. You get a point? Privacy risks before implementing projects that handle personally identifiable information. And as of now, we all know what risks are: security risks, the probability that a threat or the likelihood a threat can exploit a vulnerability that can lead to the loss of either one component of the CIA, three or, if possible, all three components. That's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So likewise, we need to be able to determine if the system collects a lot of PII so as to better manage privacy risks. Purpose of a PTA. The primary goal of a PTA is to evaluate the privacy risks and impact associated with handling personal information. It helps ensure compliance with privacy laws and best practices. A PIA also demonstrates an organization commitment to protecting individuals' privacy, which enhances public trust. Okay, and then when is a PIA required? It's required when a project or is required when a project, system, or program collects, stores, processes, or share personally identifiable information. We discussed that already. Introduces new technology or processes that might impact the privacy of individuals or involves information sharing with external parties or partners. And the PIA should be conducted early in the project life cycle to address privacy risks proactively. Yes, so once you fill the PTA, it determined that that system is PIA positive, then your company should go ahead for that information system and be able to make sure you have a PIA for that particular information system. And bear with you, the fact that your organization have a customized template, a standardized template, it doesn't mean that that's just one template for all information system. No. So you have each and every information system needs to have a PTA by mandatory, and then PIA is obligatory, where you have to determine if that system collects a lot of PII or not. Key component of PTA. First, description of the project system. Clearly outline the purpose and scope of the project, including what information will be collected and how it will be used, right? So we even kind of touch this on our PTA. Yes, you got to tell us what kind of information are you collecting and how you're going to use that particular information. Types of data collected. Identify the type of personally data involved. For example, is it your name? Is it your email address, health information, or whatever? You need to be able to determine that. Data storage and security. Explain how the data will be stored and protected to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Do you see? At the end of the day, we want to make sure CIA TRIA is being maintained. And then privacy risks, identify potential risks to individual privacy and how these risks will be mitigated or managed. And of course, you also want to be in compliance with regulatory authority. And the process first is involved typically the following: identify data and the system project. These are all things that we've discussed already. So with that, I'll just go now to um, we'll go to the website, we'll go back to the DHS home security. You can just do PIA DHS, and advisable, you can just get the document, you download it. Once you download it, and then you can just see what it is, right? This thing is just, it's easy. They've even like explain so many things, what this document is all about, all the different sessions. But if we even go where, for example, what is PTA, they have the introduction, complying with PTA requirement. These are some of the things that you all can read at your leisure time, okay? And then if we go down, you'll see the question and answer session, and that's how you conduct or assess privacy controls. For example, this all controls, I'm telling you guys, I assess this control on a regular basis, right? What specific legal authorities or arrangement permit and define the collection of information by the project in question? So you should be able to determine what legal authorities allow you to be able to collect people's information. For example, they have this, so it also depend, like you need to be able to put it. What Privacy Act system of record notice apply to the system? Do you see? What Privacy Act system of record notice? And of course, if you have that, you should be able to have the system of record notice number. That once you take it, you can always go to the Federal Register to be able to check, know everything about the system. As a system security plan be completed for the system, of course, we all know SSP is like the Bible for your system, such as system security plan. It has like literally everything about a system that you need to know, from the introduction, the system description, the different personnel, all the security controls, the architectural diagrams, and literally everything. If it has some form of interface with other system, everything about that system is being documented on your SSP. Your SSP is a critical document that, of course, people cannot really get hold on it because it literally has everything about that system. And that's why they are asking you if, this particular document has been completed. So they'll say, these are like just question and answer. Does the record retention schedule approved by National Archive and Record Administration, NARA, exist? So if yes, so again, this document is just question and answer. And if you happen to get a job that you are assessing privacy controls, it's just to read. That's all. It's just to read. You come to the session, you read, and you just check out the responses. And that's how you'll be able to validate the efficacy of the control in question. Okay? Identify the information the project collect, use, disseminate, or maintains. And for this question, first, you have up to like 4 different set of controls. The first one, you want to check what kind of like what kind of, how do they collect that information, how do they use the information, how do they disseminate the information, and how do they maintain the information. So this is like 4 in 1. So when you come here, that's already like 4 controls that you've accessed. Okay, so what are the sources of the information and how the information is collected for the project? So if you just go through it, it's just question and answer. And the beautiful thing this though is that it will give you like the guidance and hints as to how you go about filling this session. And then based on what your system has and kind of information it collates, that's how they'll go ahead and fill it. And then if you have a privacy officer that can also give a go ahead, determine if the system is PTA positive, fine. If it's PIA positive, then they need to have a PIA. But if it's negative, it means we do not need a PIA. Okay, so this is just a little overview of that. So next session, we're going to cover, go to the selection of security controls. And the reason of us laying emphasis on this project, to be able to determine the controls that gets to your system. And you see, to be able to even determine if that system require a PIA or not, because you don't want to be in a situation where you are collecting a lot of PII and you do not have the privacy impact analysis. You are not in adherence with regulatory authorities. Then imagine the potential privacy risk you are exposed to if that system get hacked and the fines that your company organization is going to pay, right? So I'll see you all in the next session. And please, if you are watching a video, make sure you subscribe and like and share with your friend. I've seen a lot of people watching now, they've not subscribed. So try and make sure you subscribe to our channel. And thank you all again for, spreading the love and sharing our video with your friends and family. See you all in the next video. Okay, bye.